With every single new fighting game that gets announced or that people get to try early thanks to events or early access, there is always a ton of controversy and discussion around many different topics. Like, for example, is the game actually going to be fun and entertaining, or is it going to deliver what is promising? And of course, with Marvel Tōkon being the next fighting game big year in 2026 is going to be a part of this trend, and I basically want to open up this discussion because many people have already said online, and also, content creators and basically famous influencers that try the game at EVO, that it feels actually more like a 1v1 fighting game with assists, kind of like MK1 but with tagging, instead of a real, true, tag fighting game when you compare it to something like Marvel vs. Capcom or Dragon Ball FighterZ. So in this video, I want to discuss with all of you also, let me know in the comment section what you think, and exactly why I believe that ArcSys, with how they have a track of basically taking really good decisions over the last few years with their games, is probably going to happen the same with this one. And even though people have only touched the surface of the gameplay for this game, they are probably already misjudging what the future of this game as a product is going to be. So before we start, if you enjoy fighting game content, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing. And now let's get into why I think that ArcSys is actually going to knock it out of the park with this game, and it's going to be a real tag fighting game. And let's start with the main argument, right? Many people are saying that this game is actually like a glorified 1v1 because there's no real big incentive to tag out your character and change the characters with your team, even though you have 4 available characters that you can play at any time if you active tag or change during neutral with another character. And even though I can agree that it is hard to understand what exactly is the reward of tagging when you're playing this game only for an hour and you're basically learning the most basic things like auto combos, I think that it is not only hard to understand what is going to be the actual reward for tagging, but also how you can use active tag to counterpick your opponent. And when you play any sort of fighting game at a high level, you know that matchups are very relevant. Like, a lot of the time when you play against a really good player and you are a good player too, the matchup can be the biggest difference in the fight, more than maybe a skill, depending on how strong the characters counter each other and stuff like this. So even though I understand the idea that there's not enough reward for tagging in the game, and ArcSys has said publicly and openly that they want you to play only one character if you have like a favorite one and you want to play it always, right away as your leader and fight as them the whole fight, that is fine. And they have said that they want you to do that as a new player. But when you get to learn this game, like, hear me out, man, even though people tried this game and they're saying that it's super fun, but they say that it's 1v1, like, you did not play the game enough to understand how tagging is actually going to have an effect in your fight. You don't even understand combos, neutral interactions at a deeper level. You're just mashing and enjoying the game, and that's fine. So your idea that the game is probably too simple when it comes to tagging and it doesn't actually reward you changing characters is probably a misjudgment of, one, how matchups are going to be insanely relevant for the game and its meta over time, and 2, also because people are kind of forgetting about this, it's not only about changing characters to have a better matchup, but also the tech level in a tag fighting game tends to be very high. And people only try this game, for half an hour, so you don't really understand how deep it can get with combos and with resources around a fight. Dragon Ball FighterZ is one of the biggest success of ArcSys over the last few years, and one of the things that made Dragon Ball FighterZ successful is that it appealed at the same time to casuals and to hardcore level players. The casual could turn up the game, press some auto combos, see some insane animations and supers, and they had a ton of fun and a blast with the game. And the hardcore players could do the most insane, stupid combos with 30 rejumps, super cancellations, and it was absolutely crazy. And that's one of the reasons as to why that game was so successful, because it offered deepness without basically making a sacrifice on how easy it could be to get into the game right away. So both type of audiences, new people and old heads that play, for example, something like NBC, were able to try the game out and have a ton of fun and find a specific thing in the game that they enjoy. And I think that the same is going to happen with Tokon, and people are just misjudging how relevant tagging is going to be without understanding how deep the tech can be over time when the game comes out. So those are my two main arguments against the idea that it is a glorified 1v1. Like, you're really forgetting about the matchups and you're really underestimating how deep the game can be over, you know, the first months of release. And then I have a third argument that is more separated that I believe is also really relevant, and that is that I completely trust ArcSys to know basically, or to be conscious enough about how this game needs to be so that both audiences are gonna like it, newer players and older ones, or legacy players. And why am I saying this? Because when you look at ArcSys and their track record over the last few years, when you talk about the games that they develop, not the games that they publish, like for example DNF Duel, they didn't develop a game like DNF, they just published it with another developer that did the actual game. But when you look at their games, Dragon Ball FighterZ and Guilty Gear Strive, they have really kind of like understood a formula to attract newer and older players together. They have really kind of cracked the code about how to do an anime, you know, single 1v1 fighting game or a 3v3 tag fighting game like FighterZ versus Strive, and actually call people and say, hey, you have been playing fighting games for 20 years, you're gonna love this game. Hey, you have never played fighting games, you're also gonna love this game. And I think that they really understand that. They have found that equilibrium between, you know, attracting legacy players and newer players. And the same is going to happen with Tokon. And again, I think that people are underestimating how smart ArcSys has become over the years around developing fighting games that are accessible but also interesting to every single person that wants to try it out. And I talk about this topic specifically, you know, mentioning Strive and FighterZ, but there is also Granblue, and I think that Granblue has done an amazing job adding all the things into the game that were actually really good about Strive and FighterZ, like the amazing anime, you know, animations and supers and graphics, adding also accessibility with, you know, very simple inputs and supers and special moves, but also having multiple layers of complexity that a higher level player is going to need to actually win against someone that is good. And that specific, you know, sort of like gameplay design is, to me, what is going to make Tokon be a success. We are probably going to see the same approach, specifically taking into account that the gameplay, you know, or battle director of Tokon is the same that Granblue Fantasy vs Rising had. So again, I think that people are underestimating many different things, like how complex the game can end up being, how relevant matchup knowledge and basically matchup charts when it comes to the characters are going to be, and also how ArcSys has kind of cracked the code when it comes to making the perfect fighting game for newer and legacy players. So this is kind of the topic that I wanted to discuss today, more of an open discussion, you know, not that much editing or anything, because I feel like people are sleeping on the complexity that this game is gonna have. And they said openly, the developers again, that they want you to play only as one character if that is what you want. But that is not a limitation. They are offering the idea of you only choosing the character that you love and becoming an expert on it if you want to do it. And that gives you basically, you know, more freedom to play the game. And that is the key. The key is to give people freedom to play the game in whatever way they want, but not limit them around maybe only playing a one character 1v1 with assists, or also only playing with active tagging all the time. You basically need to give people freedom to do what they want to enjoy the game. And it seems like ArcSys is doing that without limiting the game necessarily. And I truly believe that people are feeling like tagging is not that strong because they don't understand how it is actually going to be relevant for the game. So thank you for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed the video and the discussion, please let me know in the comments. Also leave a like and subscribe if you can, and enjoy some Marvel Tōkon. Let's hope that you can get into the beta if you have a PS5 and try it out. See you on the next one.